Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to continue with our Yule showcasing. And now here we have John and Tay of Pickeyweedz. It's an interesting name. And they have a store, and we're going to talk to them. Hey, introduce yourselves there. Welcome.
Hi, Ed. I'm Tay.
Hey, I'm John.
And so what is Pickeyweedz?
Pickeyweedz is this metaphysical store. We started out at about 600 square foot. And we just recently relocated to an almost 3,000 square foot space, offering an event space and rooms to book for healers and readers, and give the community a chance to actually find others and have gatherings. And what we endeavor to be is not the usual metaphysical store. We try to carry something for all traditions. We've got to focus on academic literature, historical literature. We try to cater to the community. I've noticed that before, a lot of people were scared to order things for you if you were of a different practice or tradition, because they didn't understand them. Well, this is how you get to understand them. You get to know your community, you talk to your community, and we're big on making sure that the diaspora out here that are far, far away from home and can't get the goods that they need actually get them. John actually printed some Taino gods because we couldn't find any for a practitioner from the Dominican Republic. So he printed some on his 3D printer and gave them to the guy for his altar because he couldn't find anything. And then he went out and found an actual creator in DR to actually fire some clay-fired pieces for him.
Wow, that's I love the modern stuff. Where are you located then?
Pennsylvania. We're in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. Actually, the store is listed 105 Layton Road, South Abington Township, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, you have an online component.
Oh, God, yes. www.pickeyweedz.com.
And so that's Pickeyweedz. That's an unusual name. Can you tell us a little bit about your name?
That's this one's fault.
When I first started practicing with a friend of mine from Michigan, his dad is retired Navy and also a practitioner. And he used to poke fun at us all the time for being in the woods. He says, "You boys always out there in them woods getting all pickeyweeds." And pickeyweeds are the little stickers that stick to your pant legs and everything when you're going through the pucker brush of Michigan. So when it came time to come up with a name for the store, we wanted to honor him as well. He's been passed on for a while, but he meant a great deal to us.
That's a great little story because it is an unusual name. And so there you go. So Yule's coming in, you have your space. Congratulations, moving up to 3,000 square feet. It's quite a bit from 600. That's a big thing, especially being sustainable.
Now, we opened March 1st, 2020. So you know what happened about 19 days later. And we got shut down until June. So we were doing non-contact deliveries, non-contact pickups, whatever we had to do, whatever we could do to keep alive. We got no help from the government. So the only reason we're here is because of the community around Scranton, Pennsylvania, in the surrounding areas. Our community is very diverse across different practices. Basically, you name it, there's somebody here practicing it. It's not really lopsided one way or the other. Everybody is it's a very supportive community. The one issue that they've had is that everyone has always felt like they didn't know anyone, or they were leery of meeting someone on the internet for obvious reasons. And so our goal with the store was, well, one, to have a place where they can get the things they couldn't find, but also a place where people can meet and greet other people and maybe learn about other paths, or maybe learn about the path they're on, or just to have some networking place, a safe place where they're not so alone. And we see all of the people that come in, but maybe the solo practitioner doesn't realize just how big the community is here. And we have people that are driving from New York City, from New Jersey, from Maryland, not just Scranton. And so they're really the reason that we survived COVID. And they're really the reason we founded the business in the first place, was to be part of and support the community. So we do a lot of events now that we have the space. Whereas before in the tiny little space, we really couldn't do anything. It was more of a store. Now we're kind of scaling to more of a community center, if you will, where we have space that can hold 10 attendees. We have, like Tay mentioned, we have 2 bookable rooms. The space we took over was a medical facility, so they're exam rooms. So the privacy that you get for your tarot readings or your rune readings or your Reiki is not just a curtain. You know, when you shut that door, everything is quiet, private, and people really seem to be gravitating towards that. So 2 of the rooms are bookable. The other 2 of the 4 old exam rooms we've converted into libraries. So one library is ceremonial. We import books from the UK, from Europe. A lot of them are first editions. We have some collectors in the area, and there's people that travel, because normally those kind of occult texts you see on the internet, you don't get to actually handle. So we kind of go out our way to offer that. And plus we have the metaphysical community, the New Age, the Reiki. We try to have something for everyone, and our inventory always changes. So it's not always the same thing every time you come in. We're always trying to get something new. We support the local crafting community. We have a lot of local crafters that sell on consignment in the store. We have an entire hallway devoted to nothing but locally crafted goods.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. And for people in that local area, and I know quite a few people. We have a lot of people in that area that watch our show, and so that's fascinating. So people who go online, what is it that you carry online that you can share with people? You talk about actually first edition books, which I'm telling people now are the biggest investment in the world to make right now. If you really want to make an investment in the future, I do think so. And I've said it quite publicly. I think a lot of the early Buckland books, a lot of the early Gardner, Lady Sheba,
Yep.
that are out of print, never will be in print. I think they're going up. I think they're going to go up 5-10 fold over the next 10 years.
Oh, God, yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
And so that sort of thing. So if you've seen those first editions, can you talk about different things they could buy for you? Or since you're a book hunter, which I was interesting, but they could contact you to see if you can find a book for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as far as, we try to carry everything. So we have handcrafted cloaks made by a master seamstress. We have staves. There's a local wand maker that he hand carves wands. Every one of them is unique, and they're very, very nice. Like, it's something you would hand down to your children. It's not a plastic thing with a crystal on the end. This is a hand carved piece of art. We have, of course, the requisite incense, candles. We probably have around 300 decks of tarot cards. Yeah. Whatever your interest, we have crystals, we have gemstones. We really try to cover a wide basis. And then we have clothing, we have jewelry, musical instruments. And we're always looking for that next new thing. If somebody comes in and is looking for something that we don't have or we've never carried, and then we go out of our way to try to find that for them. And if that it means overseas, then it's, we continue searching until we find what they're looking for.
Well, that's interesting. So you're really a cultural store. I mean, in the sense of a cultural center, you're developing out there beyond just the simple, metaphysical story like you find in a small tourist town.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Nothing against them. I think those are important too, but because it's hard. I mean, once you buy a certain amount of stuff, things that you get your basics, it's hard to find some of that better items. You want to get a better cloak, you want to get a better staff, a better wand. And I'm a first edition collector. So that's my passion. I especially do love that. So pickeyweedz.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're out located. So explain to people where you're out located again.
So just by Scranton, it's a little place called Clark Summit. Okay. It's actually all of the Abingtons. It's in the Abingtons in Pennsylvania. And so the little section of Clark Summit that we're in is basically South Abington. But it's 105 Layton Road, South Abington Township.
Okay, so people who probably know that, people who are listening who are from Pennsylvania probably know that way better than that.
Oh yeah.
And of course you can just go to the website and it'll tell you all that information. So let me ask one thing. One of the things we've had is a lot of artists for music. And so we saw that. We've talked about evil eye trends. What is the thing that's really kind of popping in your area?
Gathering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we have a Brazilian practitioner. She's doing a cacao ceremony coming up in the next week.
Yeah.
We have the local CUPS chapter, which is in Wyoming Valley. CUPS is very, very active in this area, and the leadership in this particular part of CUPS is excellent. They really go out of their way for the community. There's so many activities and so many things that they're part of, and then they're now doing some of those activities in our event space, and we're just thrilled to have them. And a lot of these are like free activities or donation based, and all the donations go right back into CUPS so that they can do more events and more community outreach. There's a local Wiccan ordained minister. He's done prison outreach in the area. He's done so many hand fastings. I couldn't even tell you how many he's done. But the community is thriving and growing in Scranton. So if you're feeling alone, trust me, you are not. There are a lot of us here, and everything is very, very much geared towards community driven, coming together regardless of traditions or paths or any of that. And it's coming together as a people. And that's really great to see. So circling back to your question after my long-winded response, where that is the biggest thing for us is the events. And I mean, we'll look at each other in the store. The cash register may not be ringing, but the conversation and the gathering of the people is the most priceless thing right now, is just seeing people meet new people, make new friends, and strengthening our community. And that is just, I can't put a dollar value on that. That makes all the hard work and all the sweat and the frustration and the fear of the store, living through COVID, living through inflation. It's all worth it to see those people come together and realize that their tribe might be a little bit bigger than they thought.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's always a wonderful thing. So so you mentioned 3D printing. The makerspace is really kind of a growing thing. So are you a bit of a nerd there, or?
Oh, I'm a complete nerd.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I've been talking about zero manufacturing, how there's a lot more things out there. Zero friction manufacturing, I've been talking about. Directing. So if I understand, so the individual could not find the idols or the gods or the statue where they wanted, and you just 3D printed them, and now we've got kind of created. Can you talk a little bit about that process and how that incorporates into your system?
Well, my 3D printer is broken right now, so but he is a Taino practitioner. In the Taino tradition, it's very, very difficult. And I didn't know this before we spoke, but it was very difficult for him to find any representations of his pantheon. Most of the artifacts have been raided and they're in museums or they're for sale at very expensive auction houses. They're out of the reach of the common person, and there's no reproductions being made. It's not as say mainstream as some of the other pantheons. And so I did just a few days research on the internet until I found some models that someone had made, and then I printed them on my 3D printer and gave them to him. And it was like, the man is not someone who's easily brought to tears, but it seemed to mean a lot to him. And then to follow up, I made some contacts in the Dominican Republic and found a gentleman there that still crafts the idols the old way. I say idols, but they're representations of their deities. And so I had about a half a dozen imported from the Dominican Republic. They're all handmade from the clay, hand fired. And so we still have a couple left, but most of them have found homes from the store. So that was a fun challenge accepted type of event there.
Very cool. Gods will not be silenced.
That's
No.
right.
All right. So last question, you've got your center and things like that. What are you doing around Yule, and possibly what events are around you for Yule?
We're going to have a couple of drumming circles around that time that are free for the public. I think we're going to have a lot of free tea flowing in and out of there, and probably some free mulled cider. And we'll probably have a few little sales, like some percentages off here and there.
Yeah, Tay is an herbalist, so we have probably over 250 at last count bulk dried herbs. Every one of them is organic. They're all well crafted. She's incredibly picky in where she gets her products, and we also have the herbal teas as a section too. So when you come in the store, you see this gigantic wall of herbs and teas behind the counter, like a true apothecary would look like. And so with the advent of the space, now we can start giving free tea samples. So every day there's a new tea, and the samples are free. And you can taste test and see which one you like before you buy it. They don't come in the little prepackaged things. These are actually the raw bulk herbs. And so the flavor is amazing. One of the ladies that works for us is actually a trained chef, and she is now converted to using her herbs, Tay's herbs, for all of her recipes now, because the quality is so much better.
I have to buy her spices too.
So, but yeah, as far as Yule goes, we're closed from our major holidays. We normally close the store just for our employees and our practice. And basically, it's going to be the same type of deal. We'll be closed for Yule, but we'll have different things. Local crafters are making some Yule themed things. And again, we'll have activities. We have people signing up every day to put on activities in the space. I don't know if they're going to do a Yule themed.
Oh no, they're going to do some drum circles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I imagine there'll be some Yuletide singing. Yeah.
But if anyone has any ideas or anyone's interested in doing something specifically for Yule, our space is available.
Yeah, reach out.
There you go. The winter storm came in behind me. It's always a fascinating thing this time of year. And thank you. So that's Pickeyweedz, and of course we know you're picky because it's in your name. There you go. So that sounds like a great store. Check it out on online. Check out what they have, and also come on out there. And thank you for being with us. And I enjoyed this. I've got to get out there and visit it. I have friends out in that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so thank you, everybody. And blessings and blessings to you guys. Wish you the very best, and get out there. Pickeyweedz out there, pickeyweedz.com, and find out where they're located. And if you're in Pennsylvania, go out and visit them. It sounds like a fascinating store, especially if you need those herbs and teas. And I know all of you do. All of us caffeine addicts and non-caffeine addicts, we love those teas. And thank you. And I think with that, blessings, and we're going to go on and continue. And so there you go. We'll be back, I think, next year with more on this. I think I'd like to find out more.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, Ed. We sure appreciate you.
Thank you for having us on.